go home. Good 59.
Hey, it's Rosa59 here. Time to show you guys how to make this wooden glass tube vase. And you can download a free set of plans and build these different types of vases. To make a hard copy template for the vase, you simply want to use 1/4 inch hardboard. I didn't have any 1/4 inch hardboard, so I'm just using a scrap piece of laminate flooring that's just a little bit thicker than a 1/4 inch. And you want to take your paper template, cut that all out, and tape it down in position. And then take your pencil, and then at the bottom, just make a little mark at each end here, and then do the same thing up at the top where the points are. Then you want to take your Sharpies, and I use black to do the outline, and then inside I do red, because I find that's just a little bit easier. When you're cutting it out, it's easier to see the red lines than it is to see the black lines. In order to cut out the center area, if you're going to be using your jigsaw, you need to drill some holes in order for the blade to go into to start cutting. I'm going to be using my scroll saw, so I just drilled just a little bit bigger holes so it's easier, and also then it's easier when you make your turns. If you need to take a rest or so, then at least you can sit the blade inside the hole. And I'm just simply using my drill with a 3/8 bit, and I'm just going to go ahead and drill this last hole out. I took my impact driver with the number 8 countersink bit and drilled the holes in the opposite corners, and you just want to make sure that you drill deep enough for your screws so they are nice and flush. I'm just using a scrap piece of cherry, and I just made sure it was nice and square and cut it to the right length of the paper template. Then I placed my paper template on top and just used some painter's tape just to keep it from moving, and took my pencil and traced out the outer edge and then the inside edge as well. And then I made sure that I made a little mark here at the bottom on both ends, and then I did the same thing at the top. And once you've completed that, I don't know if you guys can see it, I know it's kind of hard on cherry, but there is the outline of the template. From the line that we just traced from the template, you just want to measure in 1/8 of an inch all the way around. That way then when we're drilling our hole at the drill press, we're not getting too close to our actual line that we need to do. Take your template and line everything up with the lines that you positioned on your wood and on your template, and carefully place on top your clamps. And you may have to make some adjustments, but once everything is all clamped down, then you want to take your number 8 countersink bit and you just want to pre-drill, because we don't want to crack our wood. And you may have to use a longer bit if you don't have a longer one on your countersink bit, which I just simply used a number 8 bit just to pre-drill a little deeper. Then I just used some number 6 drywall screws that are fine thread because I am using hardwood. And then you just want to place your screw in. And you just want to make sure it's nice and flush because when we use the router afterwards, we don't want any bumps, otherwise that won't make anything nice and smooth on the inside. Make sure your workpiece is all clamped down and all nice and tight before you begin. The router that I am using is just my palm-held router, and the router bit that I'm using is called a top bearing flush trim bit, and that's because the bearing is on top, not on the bottom, because my template I have is on top, so it's going to follow on top. Now because I do have quite a thick area here in some areas, so when you go in with the router at first, you just want to put pressure on going towards this end, and you just want to do a little bit at first. You don't want to take off too much before we hit the template. So it's just kind of free-handed. You look and you just go a little bit before you actually touch the template. And you want to go ahead and do that all the way around and slowly bring your depth down a little bit. This is my first pass, and I just wanted to show you how nice and smooth and to your shape that the router bit follows to. And I just wanted to show you that you don't want to leave it this thick here. You want it about this thin. So that's what I was talking about, free-handed, as in slowly going in with the router and moving it just a little bit over. Otherwise you'll get too much tear out, and you don't want that. Once you can get as close as you can get with routing at the bottom, you want to go ahead and remove your template. And I find you just have to raise up your router bit just a little bit in order to continue on going, and then you just raise it back down slowly. That way then you can get as close as you can get, which is about 1/8 of an inch I leave at the bottom. So that way then when I take my other bearing bit here that runs on the bottom, I'm only doing one final pass, and it's not taking off a whole lot at a time. This is what it looks like after you're done routering. To drill the hole, you just want to take your template and center it up with your top lines that we made earlier. And you just want to take your hole punch and punch a hole right in the center of the square. And that way then we know where to drill our holes for the glass tube to go into. I know this might look a little bit funny for drilling the hole, but we want to have something on the bottom piece. Otherwise, if we don't, what's going to happen is it's not going to be a smooth cut like you see here at the top. It's going to be all teared out, and we don't want that. So you want to keep your piece that you cut out with the jigsaw. I just sanded the bottom so that was nice and square, and then I just found a little piece of wood that was lying around and some tape I just added to it to make it nice and snug. That way this is not going anywhere, and then when we finish drilling all the way through, it will hit this piece right here, so it'll be nice and smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and finish out drilling my hole. It's just a 1-inch hole you want to drill. To drill the bottom hole, you want to go ahead and take your template that you used on the top and just position it here, and you just want to measure on each end to make sure that you're roughly in the center. And that just helps by putting the glass tube in just to make sure everything is fitting okay. And then once you're happy with everything, then you go ahead and take your punch and then punch your hole. And once you've punched your hole, just makes it easier for drilling. And then I used a 1/4 inch just to start it off, because we don't want to put too much pressure on the bottom. It is a little bit thinner, otherwise we will split the wood. To drill the bottom hole, I'm just simply using my impact driver with an extension and the same 1-inch hole. You want to drill about a 1/4 inch deep. putty to fill in any of the areas that got nicked by the router. Then after that, I used my orbital sander at 150 grit sandpaper, and then I used 400 grit sandpaper for the corners just to keep the shape. We don't want to lose the shape, but we also want to make it nice and smooth. For the stain, I just applied on a dye stain, and the colors that I used were by General Finishes. I used a quart of black cherry and a quart of merlot. I believe that's how you pronounce the name. And I just combined the 2 quarts together in an empty 1 gallon container. And I applied it on, let it dry for 4 hours. And now I'm going to go ahead and apply on my Old Masters wiping stain in a dark walnut finish. After I applied the wiping stain on, I wiped it off with a clear rag, then let it dry for 8 hours. Once it was completely dry, I added 3 coats of the Vase in a satin finish. Here is the completed look of the vase, and you can display your favorite flowers in them. I just simply used just fake ones from the dollar store, it's what I had lying around. And I just added some decorative accessories, or gems you can call them. I just got them at Michael's. They come in various different colors. I find that it just gives it a nice decorative look. Thanks for stopping by my channel, and go to the video description link below for free plants. Don't forget to comment on this video. If you would like to see more of these videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.